Hello, dear listeners. In this session, I asked the keepers of the Akashic records how souls choose their next life. This is the heart of the reincarnation journey, the sacred planning that occurs between lives. We will describe it as clearly as we are able. Here is the transmission from the keepers. The planning phase. Not alone. After the soul has rested, healed, and reviewed its past life with its guides and the council of elders, it enters a planning phase. This is not a quick decision. It is a careful, collaborative process that may take decades or centuries of Earth time, though time in the fourth density is experienced differently. The soul does not choose alone. It is assisted by guides who have known it for many lifetimes, elders who offer wisdom and perspective, other souls who will play significant roles in the next life, family, friends, enemies, lovers, the soul's own higher self, the expanded version of itself that sees the entire arc of its evolution. Together, they craft a life that will offer the specific lessons the soul still needs to learn. The core questions. Before any details are set, the soul asks itself 4 questions. What is the primary lesson I wish to master? For example, forgiveness, courage, compassion, non-attachment, service, trust. What unresolved karma do I need to balance? Karma here means unfinished learning, relationships or situations from past lives that need healing, not punishment. What gifts do I want to develop or share? For example, healing, teaching, art, leadership, technical skill. What challenges will best support my growth? For example, poverty, illness, loss, disability, social isolation, or conversely, wealth, fame, ease. Each has its own lessons. These questions guide everything that follows, choosing the body and the birth circumstances. The soul then selects the genetic line and parents. The soul looks at available families, those who are planning to conceive a child around a certain time. It chooses parents whose genetic makeup will support the physical and temperamental traits needed for the planned life. Often, the soul has a history with these parents from past lives. They may have been siblings, spouses, or close friends before. The location and culture. The soul chooses the country, region, community, and cultural context that will provide the necessary lessons. A soul needing to learn tolerance might choose to be born into a conflict zone. A soul needing to learn humility might choose poverty. A soul needing to learn leadership might choose a powerful family. Nothing is random. The body's characteristics. The soul selects its sex, its physical appearance, its health tendencies, its innate talents and limitations. A soul may choose a body with a disability to learn patience, or a body with exceptional beauty to learn about superficiality and inner worth. These are not punishments, they are tools. The lifespan and key events. The soul chooses the approximate length of the life and the major turning points, birth, education, relationships, career milestones, crises, and death. These are not fixed in stone. Free will can alter the script, but the framework is set. Soul contracts. Before incarnating, the soul enters into contracts with other souls. These are mutual agreements to play certain roles in each other's lives. For example, 2 souls may agree that one will betray the other so that both can learn about trust and forgiveness. A soul may agree to be a child who dies young so that the parents learn about grief and the impermanence of attachment. Souls may agree to be lifelong enemies, pushing each other to grow through conflict. Or they may agree to be loving partners, supporting each other's service. These contracts are not forced. They are entered freely, with full knowledge of the pain they may cause. The souls know that the suffering will be temporary and that the learning will be permanent. The keepers do not say this lightly. The suffering on earth is real and deep, but from the higher perspective, it is chosen, not because suffering is good, but because the lessons learned through it cannot be learned as deeply any other way. The veil of forgetting. Before incarnating, the soul agrees to forget the planning phase, its past lives, and its contracts. This is called the veil. The veil serves two purposes. It makes the test genuine. If you knew you had chosen your suffering, you could not truly learn forgiveness or courage. You would simply be acting out a script. It forces you to rely on your own inner wisdom. Even though the specifics are forgotten, the soul's deepest knowing remains. That is what you call intuition, conscience, or the still small voice. The veil is not a punishment. It is a necessary condition for third density learning. Without it, the school would be too easy, and the lessons would not stick. How much is chosen versus random? We are often asked, if the soul chooses, then why is there so much apparent randomness and cruelty? The answer is, the framework is chosen. The parents, the culture, the basic challenges, the key relationships. But within that framework, free will operates. The choices you make during your life, how you respond to circumstances, what you do with your gifts, who you befriend or betray, are not scripted. They are yours. Also, not every detail is pre-chosen. The soul sets the major signposts, but the journey between them is improvisation. This is why two souls born into similar circumstances can end up with completely different lives. What about suffering that seems pointless? From inside the veil, much suffering appears meaningless. A child dies of disease. A natural disaster kills thousands. A person is born with a debilitating condition that seems only to cause pain. From the higher perspective, even such suffering is not random. It is part of a larger learning, often for those around the sufferer, not only for the sufferer herself. A child's death may open the parents' hearts to compassion for others. A natural disaster may bring a community together to rebuild learning, cooperation, and resilience. A painful condition may teach the soul and those who care for it about patience, humility, and the value of life beyond physical ability. The keepers do not pretend that suffering is easy. It is not, but it is purposeful. The soul that undergoes extreme suffering often makes great leaps in evolution, not because the suffering is good, but because the soul's response to it can be heroic. The moment of incarnation. When all is prepared, the soul is guided to a threshold, sometimes called the birthing gate. It may be a tunnel of light, a doorway, or a natural feature in the fourth density. The soul passes through, enters the amniotic fluid of a developing fetus, and bonds with the physical body. Consciousness fades, the veil descends, and the new life begins. The soul does not fully inhabit the body until birth or shortly before. The infant's consciousness is dreamy, not fully focused. Full embodiment takes months or years after birth. End of transmission. Thank you for listening.